Hey everybody, I'm Fit Rockstar, and today I have a very special treat with you. I have the current Miss Olympia, Andrea Shaw. Round of applause, please.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited I get to be in studio with the Wings of Strength team.
And the Olympia team. I guess Jake, because he owns it, right?
That's right. Own it all. It's like Monopoly. He just came through and just kind of swept everything up for us.
I didn't get to collect my $200 after pass and go, though.
Did you go to jail?
I did, actually. We'll talk about that another time.
I think I can help you out. I'll bail you out.
So let's go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
What happened after the Toronto Pro? What was that, 2018?
2019. Yeah. Okay. Pro debut. There was an emotional roller coaster. I was not anticipating coming in 11th. I worked my tush off, really trying to make sure that I brought the physique that I thought would be worthy of, a pro debut, right? So I knew that probably 2018 was my softest look when I finished up the season. So I knew, I'm like, I dialed it back a little bit for that show, but I knew that to compete at the pro level, I really had to step it up and to really just give everything. Just make that statement at the pro debut, right? I think that every pro, when it's time to make that pro debut, they really should have that thought process. Like, when I step out there, they know I put in some serious work. So it was a little bit of an emotional upset because I got the second call out, 11th place, the lowest placing I've ever had to date, even as an amateur, right? So it was a bit like, oh man, ouch.
Right.
But then, when I came off stage, even backstage, it was very apparent. As much as I didn't think I was a female bodybuilder, I was still the big girl in the group.
Why did you think you weren't a female bodybuilder? Why? What made you think that?
I just never really saw myself as having, number one, the mature muscle that was really required, and the size, to be really good at female bodybuilding. Could I do it and jump in it? Yeah, but I really didn't see that I had what it takes to really make, top 5,
sure,
let alone win. But yeah, it was more of a mental thing. So, got approached by Irene Anderson, Bob Ciccarello, but, the most notable was obviously Linda and Alina. So
sure.
it was definitely, because they know, right? They've been to plenty of shows, and it was like, okay, this is a conversation that me and the coach got to have about making the shift. It wasn't as hard of a shift as like getting rid of my figure dream. I really thought I was going to be a figure girl. Yeah.
So you started out in figure and then physique.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. I did not know this. So figure was an amateur level?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th place at the only 2 figure shows I did. But, I knew then that, like, okay, because back then, we're talking 2008, like, there was just fitness, figure, and women's bodybuilding. And that's where the mindset began. It was like, yeah, I could never be a female bodybuilder. I'm like, way too small. I'm like, way too small.
Right.
But figure seemed to be a more attainable, goal. But then I was the quadzilla on stage with girls, even at 140, like, because that was the leanest that I had gotten, but I was starving. And that should have been a calling card.
Starving for
food.
Ice cream?
Everything. Like, if there was food around, I was looking for it.
Okay.
But, the coach that I had do my diet, because I could handle most of my training, and my coach now, he was available to help me with training. So, but it was still kind of spotty because I didn't know where I was going with it. It was just still, like, going against my body. Everything was just, like, not good enough, right? I placed, right? 3rd and 4th place is not bad. But it was like, I knew that I was not going to get that number 1 spot, not with these quads. It was just, they were massive.
Wow.
But, took a break, 8-year pause. And 8 years seems like a lot, but like I was so I had those same feelings of like, okay, I didn't make it in women's physique as a pro, like, ouch. I had those same feelings in figure because I was like, I know I want to compete, but, like, where in the world am I going to fit?
Sure.
What's going to be the requirement? What in the world is it going to take now for me to, really go at it and win? And it was just, I needed a minute to kind of decompress and just talk to John, see what it was that he felt about it. And I knew, like, Linda and Alina had the right direction in mind, and I had 30 days, less than 30 days to jump into Chicago Pro. So I'm really like nervous. And I'm like, what in the world am I getting ready to do in 30 days to try to, make sure I stay in great shape and not feel sad.
Right.
Because, I mean, it took a lot, right? Like, I was still kind of recouping from my amateur 2018. I spent a lot of money. You know what it is. You got to pay for hotel. You got to pay for tanning. You got to pay for hair and makeup.
Suits, everything.
Oh, gosh, the suits. Yeah, right? Like, I'm in it, right? I'm in it. So I'm like, I'm not doing this just to be doing it.
Sure.
But yeah, Linda and Alina, they're like, you know what? Chicago Pro is coming up. We think you should just jump in it. Just you're in great shape. Let's see what you. But I was still nervous. I'm like, I still didn't think I was like big enough to be a female bodybuilder.
So, have you already met Linda Murray before the Toronto Pro, or was that your first time actually meeting her and talking to her?
No, that was my second time meeting her and talking to her. I did her show in 2018 in Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was still a women's physique competitor, so I had every intention on, at some point making it to the Olympia. But in my mind, I thought, I'm going to be a women's physique girl. This is.
What was it like first meeting Linda Murray?
Oh, starstruck.
Yeah.
I was totally starstruck. So she had a huge mural of her inside of the Powerhouse Gym it was kind of one of her getaway spots. It was in a city outside of Detroit. But as a little girl, I saw this mural. I was like 13, 14 years old, and it was like, wow, this lady looks amazing. Who is she? And she was beautiful, very pretty, still very feminine. And, I thought I could never be, that fit, that in shape. But I said, I could at least try. And that's kind of where my journey began. Kind of some self-esteem things with not being happy with what you saw in the mirror or what I saw in the mirror. And I think every woman kind of goes through that phase where it's like, what type of woman am I going to become? What am I going to feel comfortable presenting to the world? And it really began to make me go within, because I was around in the gym and I had a male trainer to like kind of point me in some directions, but they don't really sometimes focus on the stuff girls want to focus on. Like, they want to bench press, and like I used to hate working chests and shoulders, and it was like,
I got to tell you, from this angle, not that I'm being a pervert, but you have a phenomenal chest.
Gracias.
Very thick. Is that English? Spanglish?
Gracias is Spanish.
De nada.
There you go. Bueno. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, when I think about it now, chest ended up being one of my better, or I shouldn't say one of my better, one of my strongest lifts, and it developed really fast. So that did work in my favor, though, when it came to, looking at how quickly I could try to get in a little more muscle in less than 30 days.
So you said strongest lift. So what is your strongest lift? 700 pounds, like Chef Rush?
Oh man, Chef is a beast. Well, he can cook his own food too, so that's like a huge plus. Like,
this guy was 13 years old, benching 315.
Oh my gosh,
13.
I can totally see it though. He's mentally strong. So
he is
you can
mentally
see
strong.
it. My best lift though, when it comes to my body, I still would say it would be leg press. Is that considered a lift?
Yeah.
Yeah, my legs are like super strong, like 1,300 pounds.
Yeah, Quadzilla.
Exactly. Calling card.
Yeah, right.
But like my second strongest would probably be a split between chest and back. Like, I didn't realize how strong I really was until, I took the restraints off from, those less than 30 days. I mean, I was able to like get into the gym and like hit it pretty hard just before Chicago.
Well, hearing from Linda Murray telling you should do Chicago, I mean, how did that happen? So you're coming off, from the Toronto stage, you're going in the back. They just grab you and say, hey, you need to go into bodybuilding. Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, I kind of got the finger of, come here.
The finger?
Oh, yeah. The clean finger.
Oh, the clean finger.
So it's like, get over here, because we need to have a chat. And like, this can't wait. And I was like, okay, I got the feeling we're going to have a discussion of, what the next move is going to be. And, I had it in mind, but I really didn't think that they were going to throw me into it right away. They're like, you need to do it. Chicago's right next to Michigan, and we think that if you go, it's going to be a good move.
No brainer, right?
Yeah, like Michigan was only a 3.5 hour ride. So, yeah, and it paid off, because
tell us what happened.
Our seasoned veteran, Miss Alicia Young. I mean, stellar physique, great girl.
And you came in
personality.
second to her,
came in second to her by 1 point.
Yeah, 1 point.
And I mean, it was, and that prep had its challenges. I started to have some some issues with my legs. So like I said, I got into the gym right after Toronto, and I started to lift pretty hot and heavy, but I started to have some muscle cramps, and I was new to that. And I was like, okay, being a bodybuilder is going to be interesting if this is how we're starting off. And I mean, it got to the point where I had to like start seeking out the chiropractor for like Graston, where they use those big heavy tools and they start getting in there.
That hurts.
Hurts so good though, because I mean, it definitely began to help me like see my body even develop even faster. So like,
I'm taking notes now. So grafting.
There you go. These are the Miss O ins and outs tips. But yeah, like the Graston became a way for me to get like that fascia to release. Then my next day's lifts, or the next time I worked legs, it was like the pump came even better. Like the blood flow was even better. Like and the muscles just started to just.
You ever did
sprout.
vacuuming? The vacuuming stuff, the suction cups.
Yeah, I just started getting that last year. So that was something I started getting it on my back, my arms. She got a few small cups, and she even got in my chest. So I mean, I was like, okay, this is. I mean, it's been a journey. So learning what works for my body to develop, and it doesn't take long. That's the
you
crazy
were
thing
very
about
gifted, and we're going to get into that. But after the Chicago, you came in second. Then, what was going through your head? So now we're in 2019.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then, what were you thinking there?
I'm like, I got a shot. Like the time I spent doubting myself, I should have been pushing myself to just do it. And I was always afraid to be a female bodybuilder. It was just something that once I won Chicago, I was like, why in the world did I wait? What in the world was going on with me? What was like going on with my self-perception that I didn't feel like I could do it? Mm-hmm. So I began to really reflect a little bit and think, what in the world would my life be like had I done it sooner, right? So I tried to really not go down that rabbit hole, but it became something that I had to really ponder. And then I'm like, okay, because I didn't do it back then, now I'm in it. So what am I going to do now that I've got this opportunity? It's huge. Like Wings of Strength for me at that time came out of nowhere. I had no idea that the organization even existed. I just knew that, my favorite female bodybuilder was retired, right? And she used to compete, and like female bodybuilding was no longer at the Olympia. But now this like whole world opened up with Wings, and like it's a whole team, and like they prefer to promote female bodybuilders because it was unjustly taken away. So I'm like, man, I got a huge opportunity now. So like maybe I should now look at what opportunities am I gonna take to really maximize like the now. And so that became what I thought about doing. I saw you at the Tampa Pro. I wanted to just go. I wasn't working the booth or anything. I just wanted to go and really start to educate myself a little bit more about, what things are looking like in the female bodybuilding world. And I think you get a different perspective being in the audience versus being on stage. So you should get both sides of, that experience. But Rising Phoenix comes along. You and I had a conversation. I think you could definitely do it. Still not quite feeling like I could like really win, but I was going to try. And mentally and physically, I was probably at a point where I should have taken a break. But that part of me just wouldn't stop. I'm like, it's still an opportunity.
Sure.
Like I get to just be on stage at, back then, our version of the Olympia. Let's just see where it goes. But I was exhausted. I was lifting heavier. I didn't realize like the taxing of my body, mentally, physically, that was really required to push as a female bodybuilder. I still had a little bit of the women's physique mindset.
Really?
Still didn't want to eat. Still didn't want to eat the carbs. I told my coach, I don't know. I'm gonna I don't know. It didn't feel right. What if I spill over? And it's I still couldn't quite make that transition, but I jumped into it anyway.
Now, your coach, is this Mr. Excitement?
Yes, this is Mr. Jump and Run Drills. Yes. After being out of wrestling and the IFBB, competing.
So tell everybody who your coach is.
My coach is John Simmons, IFBB pro, huge notable
wrestler as well.
He used to wrestle in college, yeah, and play football and power lift, stellar athlete. Yeah, definitely. Even though he runs in his off time when he's watching his competitor compete.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That was pretty hilarious. So you were working with John during the Rising Phoenix time and everything, and you still have that physique mindset, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it's you have everybody telling you, you're going to be a great bodybuilder and this and that, and you still just didn't get it.
Yeah. It was I could not shake it off. And I really tried to find different ways to psych myself into it, but it was still...
Oh, share these ways.
Man. Well,
Come on. How do you psych yourself? You don't do a cooking sheet and start in your head
No. Well, I started to coerce myself to eat more things that I was not comfortable with eating. So for a long time, I wouldn't eat any red meat. I finally ate red meat after a hiatus of 8 years off.
How'd it taste?
And in 2018, I was fish and chicken only, and I thought, leaner, right?
Right.
I got super lean for being in women's physique, and I was so used to conditioning my mind to being lean. And it started from figure, right? But I still was afraid to eat red meat, even though my coach was like, hey, look, you're gonna get some benefits as a bodybuilder if you would just eat the red meat. And I still was scared to do it.
That's hilarious.
It was weird. I don't know why I thought I would just, I don't know, explode.
Afraid of red meat.
get fat. It's it was the complete opposite, right? It was just my muscles responded well, but it really took a lot of coercing. So I had to try to start small. Why don't you let me eat just a little bit of steak, and that's off your plate. Oh yeah, I was a
carbs?
Piece of work. The carbs were better. Loading became the thing for me. So funny backstory. I was ready to do his show, because I did his show in 2018 right before Linda's. And he's like, I want you to go ahead and eat some pancakes and some apple pie. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Are you crazy? You know how fat I'm gonna get in the next hour if you make me eat that? And he's never forceful, and I didn't eat it. I waited until that night after the show. I ate the apple pie. I ate the pancakes, and the next morning, I was I looked amazing. Wow. Everything was full. I was popping. The veins were and I'm like, John, look. And he's like, I tried to tell you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so that was a learning lesson. So we joke about it now, but I tell him any carbs you want me to eat, I'm ready. So he gets mad at me at the Rising Phoenix. Can I have some apple pie? We're literally going to go back out on stage, and he's like, would you get back in line and stop asking me?
So a little bit off topic, I'll go back to our little journey here. I heard a story where you gave a fitness tip with J.M. Mannion about water retention and sodium. So of course I'm sitting here thinking, she must have experienced something, because some people, well, the guys usually do this. They gain 30 pounds in one day.
Yeah.
So I started laughing when I heard your story, because I can relate. So I'm just curious, what happened to you? Because obviously the way you were saying it was yeah, I've been down this road. I've had this happen.
Oh, man, I felt like my skin was going to burst.
Yeah.
My ankles, my toes, yes. It was horrible. My feet, I took the socks off, and I could clearly see the indentation. It was awful. And you could literally look down at my calves. There was no separation between I had cankles. They were no.
Laughing when I heard that.
And I'm doing more cardio. I'm trying to start to restrict the salt at that point, and John's like, it's too late. You've already smashed all the salt. You've eaten the tortilla chips, and that was my
tortilla chips. That was the culprit.
And I couldn't resist it. I was like, oh, they taste so good. And within 24 hours, I was so uncomfortable.
I died when you said about the sock ring stuff.
And JM's like, okay, what tip would you give? Oh man, let me tell you, because I mean, it took me probably about a good week and like 2 or 3 days before my body started to level off, and I was just, I'm trying to lift, I'm trying to like do the cardio, and once it sets in, I mean, you just got to ride it out.
I've been there. It's horrible.
Oh man, and this time after Olympia, even more recent, right? It started to get into like my quads, my back. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so uncomfortable. Somebody help me. I want to not feel like this.
Right. It's a horrible feeling, but it goes away.
Yeah, eventually.
And you know what? It's well worth it because you became Miss Olympia. So.
Wow.
But
even though after coming in 7th at that Rising Phoenix, that was...
So I knew when I first saw you, I think you were Wings of Strength Ambassador, which is such a great program, their ambassador program.
Is.
I saw you and I said, wow. First thing that caught me was your beautiful face.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Second thing that caught me was your shoulders and then your total structure. You don't see that very often in the female bodybuilding. I mean, there are girls, listen, I'm not going to take away their thunder, but they look good, but they don't really have that full bam, that X. So when I saw you, I said, man, this girl's going to be something. I already knew it.
Yeah, he told me too. He told me.
When I saw you going forward 2020 at the Omaha show, which we have something in common. We both won the Omaha show, which is nice.
Yes. And great show.
It is a good show. Jack Titone and Ann Titone did a good job.
Their heart's in it.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah, the Italian mafia. Anyway, I'm just kidding, Jack. Great people.
Jack.
They always, they love female bodybuilders, big supporters. But anyway, when I saw you step out on stage, no, actually, I saw you with your little robe on or something.
Oh yeah.
You're getting ready. You're getting your tan done, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And your robe, you can see the cuts of your shoulders, just everything popping. You're popping. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This girl is bringing.
I was mad. I was pissed off.
Yeah, you were very pissed off.
I was pissed off. I lost that. I mean, that Rising Phoenix show, and I knew I could have did better than that. 7th place. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, so what happened? So you got 7th place at the Rising Phoenix. Then what happened? Did it finally sink into you?
Oh yeah. After then, I was like, okay, I gotta stop getting in my own way and do what it is that I know I got to do. Do what's required. This is different, right? It's not women's physique. This is bodybuilding. And, you were very honest, and I appreciated that. You got what it takes to go and win. But I needed to get out of my own way and shut the noise off. Like, okay, if it's ground beef that I got to eat, that's what I got to eat. Mm-hmm. So I had those, and, I mean, obviously once COVID started shutting things down, it became an all-in mentality for me. I mean, I knew once they announced that Miss Olympia was returning, I had to give it more, but I was really fired up knowing that I had another chance to come back and redeem myself at the Rising Phoenix and get a shot at winning the Mrs. O title. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it and give it everything. Whatever coach tells me to do, I'm doing it without reservation. Because I said, okay, I feel as though I had a certain sauce to bring to the table that if I could get out of my own way, I could just make it work. And I didn't care about who else was showing up. I had some people inbox me, oh, so-and-so is coming, oh, so-and-so is a seasoned veteran. I don't care.
That's a great attitude to have. Because who cares?
Exactly.
That's one thing I cannot stand about this sport is that people think, oh, you got to worry about this person, that person. No, I'm just worried about myself. It's me against me.
Exactly.
And you know what? They're the ones who should be worrying about me. Right?
Exactly. And you know what? There's a confidence of knowing,
yes,
did you do everything that you were supposed to do? And that was something that I had to face within myself at the Rising Phoenix for 2019. No, I did not.
Okay, so what did you not do? What was it that you felt?
I was hesitant to eat the things that my coach wanted me to eat.
And the confidence level wasn't there because you still had that physique mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, I still had a certain amount of push that I was trying to do, but I still wasn't structuring my sleep the way I should have. I wasn't giving myself the time that I needed to slowly work on female bodybuilding posing, right? Getting the feel for being, bigger and showing myself bigger on stage. I was still, and you could see it at the Chicago Pro. Like I still was doing like the women's physique side chest. I mean, like it was hard for me to let it go because I had my mind was set on being a women's physique competitor. So, you know, after the Rising Phoenix, I really started to say, okay, you know what? And I do this every year. I like to lay out what the plan is going to be and what steps are going to be required for me to achieve that goal. So number one, do what John tells me to do, and let's talk about this early. What's going to be the plan? What do we need to grow? And what is it that, you know, you feel like would sharpen me up to be the best? So once he and I got that out of the way, then it became, all right, I know my posing needed some work. Reached out to Sid. Sid, do you coach female bodybuilding? Yes. Cool. Let's talk about, you know, what type of, you know, schedule you can put me on so we can start working on this early. So because I knew the sooner I could work on it, and, you know, she has that like extra feminine flair.
She's perfect.
She's absolutely gorgeous on stage. I could just watch her forever. Right. Yeah, and I'm like, you know, set me up with a schedule that you feel I could reasonably work with you to bring my very best, because this is important. Like, it's Miss Olympia comes back. I have a chance to defend myself at the Rising Phoenix, and I want to be I don't want to just be good. I want to be
damn good.
Exactly. Knock the socks off.
Right.
Like right off.
Knowing that you did everything you possibly could and then some.
Exactly.
Right.
No stone left unturned.
Well, honey, when you hit the stage in Omaha, this is what was more interesting because we dealt with COVID, and Michigan was one of the hardest states. You guys had a lot to fight with.
Yeah.
So you know, everybody's expecting people to be not in shape, you know, because of gyms.
Yeah.
And there were some. Look, 95% of the girls were not in shape for that show, but then
here comes
we got Miss Pretty Muscles over here, who walks out. And I swear to God, everybody was just, I was in the audience just stunned. Who is this beauty? You're walking out, this gorgeous, big, beautiful smile. The way you're strutting, like, I'm here, oh no, honey, this is my show.
It's my show.
That's right. Every single thing on you, everything was perfect. Your muscle bellies. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, ma'am.
I got to talk about that for a second because...
Ground beef
well,
works.
Ground beef. I'm writing it down. Ground beef.
That's right.
But you have the most prettiest muscle bellies I've ever seen in female bodybuilding right now in the last few years. Because there's a lot of, you know, some of these girls are going to get mad at me, but I speak my mind.
Yes, you do. I appreciate that.
Some of the girls don't have that pretty muscle, that beautiful look. You know, you have the thickness. Your skin is so beautiful, which is very important with women bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You're gorgeous. Every little thing you did was perfect. Your back shot is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, every shot you do is great, but when you hit the back, done.
Lights out.
Lights out.
Lights out.
Because a lot of women, you know, we carry our fat in the glute area, you know, in the lower back, and they don't really, and the stomach. I mean, again, you had that nice flat waist. Your waist was very small. I mean, the I can't talk because I'm so starstruck over you. You had the flat belly, you had the tiny little waist, which is so important.
I started waist training. I mean, these are little.
Oh, write this down.
Yeah, this is where, you know, I told myself, you know, I don't mind being transparent because what I share, you know, it's all about the work that you put in, right? So I was just, you know, willing to try things that I was not doing before, right? So I think that everybody should be more open to trying things that they hadn't done before. So now you come in, I've got Sid coaching me on the posing. I'm eating the ground beef. I'm eating more carbs. I'm lifting heavier. And then we're not talking like super, super heavy, but, you know, my rep count starts going up. You know, we start talking about, you know, 20 reps versus 30 reps, 40 reps, 50 reps per set.
Yeah.
These are the things that will push me past, you know, where most other people would stop. And yeah, I mean, waist training became something like, you know what? At first I was like, nah, it doesn't work. Let's try it. What else I got to lose? I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure when I step on the stage, and I told my coach this, I want to be the clear choice that the judges absolutely know.
Oh, you were damn well the clear choice.
That was
absolutely.
The goal.
So then you won the show. You started crying. I mean, it was like Niagara Falls on stage, you know. And then now we have the Rising Phoenix, and also a lot of women were scared. I can't use the word. Were scared the hell of you because they knew. Oh shit!
Here she comes.
Oh, there he goes. There's the S word.
Here she comes.
Here she comes. She means business, and you did. Rising Phoenix comes and. I remember you walk out on stage, and again, it's lights out. I love Ellie. I love Margie. I love all these women. They're great athletes.
They're a part of our family network when it comes to female bodybuilding.
Every single one of those ladies put in the work. They're all champions.
Certainly.
But in the end, there's only one champ for that day, and you nailed it.
And we were dancing on stage for prejudging.
So what was your thought when you were dancing?
Yeah, we were dancing around like crazy.
Yeah, Becky was moving you guys around and all this stuff. So what was your thought immediately when you went on stage going through your, poses with all the other girls? What were you thinking?
I was nervous. Because, I knew that this was my opportunity to, again, redeem myself. And the way it went down at prejudging, in my heart, I knew I had done what I was supposed to do when it came to making sure I brought the very best. But based on the way they had us arranged, I was just like, this could go any kind of way. And, John's like, stop getting in your head.
That's right.
And because I was a little like depressed. He was like, why am I'm looking at you and you acting like you're depressed? And I'm just like, I don't know where in the world, based on prejudging, I'm falling. So, I'm still like trying to convince myself, just stay on one point. Don't get into, this intermission and go crazy. Don't be boo-hooing and crying, even though, you just don't know. There was that uncertainty, and it made me feel uneasy. But, I made sure that I just tried to get off my feet, rest, relax, and just tell myself, you know what, I did my best, and be ready. Be ready to keep fighting. So when we got on stage at finals, I literally started saying this out loud to myself on stage: fight for it, fight for it, fight for it. And because they had us working. I mean, me and Helly, once we got to the center, we were sweating. We were sweating hard.
You were sweating. And listen, I love Helly, but to be honest, I know that you were hard on yourself in the morning prejudging, but in the back shot, you just killed it. There's no way. There is no way in hell that you would not have had that. It was all yours. Helly looked good, but she just wasn't. She was, in my opinion, a little bit too watery. She always brings it. She's the beast queen, of course.
She's absolutely the beast queen.
And Helly, she works it, man.
She does.
She'll be right up there, right next to you.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Absolutely.
And, again, this year, I guarantee you, she's going to be.
Oh, she's coming.
She's coming.
She's coming.
She's coming.
And I want her to. You know what I mean? It's good because we need that. We need that.
You do.
We still need to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that bodybuilding stays at the forefront. As I expect for somebody else over here to get on stage.
Here we go.
Oh yes, I had to get it out there. We want to see you compete again.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you compete since Virginia. When I first jumped into, the bodybuilding world, and you were one of the first that I saw, being in the audience. It was like, okay, who is this lady?
Let's see. I'm not retired, but I'm hoping this year maybe the Bahamas, the Puerto Rico Pro.
Okay,
may be possible.
I'll be there. So I expect, Lady O expects for you to.
Lady O, man. Now the pressure's on me. Gosh,
I want all of the ladies who, are still actively, if they're not retired, they should be competing.
They should.
They should be competing.
And at the same time, again, and I'm not speaking for myself, but, it is financially expensive.
It is. It is.
Plus time constraints and other things, and the COVID really hit a lot of people, especially our foreigners. I miss our foreign people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm hoping they come too. But at the same time, if you're a competitor competing last year, you're like, yes, you don't gotta.
Oh yeah, it was it was like a victory on all sides,
saying
right?
That, but you
beat all the odds.
You beat all the odds, but at the same time, it was a no-brainer for these girls to compete because you have an opportunity. Because some girls are just gonna call it quits and say, you know what, I give up. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
No, you got to put it in. Keep on going.
Absolutely.
You don't know who's going to show up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And you know what? In the middle of a pandemic, it was like, it was a joy to be able to find something that kept me moving forward. It kept me engaged. It kept me from, wanting to feel bad about what was going on. It kept me from feeling bad about losing my job. It was like, you know what? I still have an opportunity to get on stage, do what I love, and see where the chips fall. So it was great to have something to look forward to, right? And encouraging my clients, encouraging my friends, they want to see you live it, right? It's not just talking it. That's one part of it, but you got to actually do it.
Yeah, don't talk the talk. You got to walk the walk.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
So what did you think about the Miss Olympia, though? How did you feel like, everything unfolded as you watched?
Mind-blowing. I mean, what they did in 4.5 weeks, moving it from Las Vegas to Orlando, was incredible. Dan Solomon, Jake Wood, and the Olympia team did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
So it's just mind-blowing when you're seeing it from the audience. And again, I was mostly in the back, but I did step out, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And this year it's going to be even better.
Even bigger.
And bigger.
It's like, how do they know we know? I mean, we know they're going to do it bigger, but how could they make it better than last year? This is like amazing.
They have the dream team.
They really do. They really do.
And I'm happy it's back in my hometown, Orlando. So
yeah. What else do you think we could do potentially then to, like, get more women's physique competitors who may be on the fence like I was?
Well, sweeten the deal. I would say talk to them about the Wings of Strength ambassadorship, and show them the positive sides of women's bodybuilding. A lot of women are afraid of too much muscle. Oh, I'm not big enough, and this and that. And just show them that's not the case. If they have a beautiful physique, take like Mila Ash.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be somebody
physique.
Very
beautiful.
She's going to be top.
Oh, yeah. I expect that she's going to come in and place higher this year.
I do too.
Yeah.
Joe Weider's Olympia here in Orlando, Florida.
A little bit strange coming out of Las Vegas for all of those years.
Good evening, and welcome to the event that nearly never happened.
There's been an absence of a particular group of people on this stage that are back tonight. Tonight I'm here to say, welcome back to Miss Olympia.
Because she just has a
Tiny waist.
Tiny waist.
Yeah.
She's always shredded condition.
Yeah.
She needs to put on a little bit more
Get a little more
size.
mass. Yeah, a little more mass.
She could be a threat.
Yeah.
People
Still
like her.
very pretty
you.
in the face.
Listen, our best bodybuilders right now have been people who are physique. You had Asha Hadley, who came in, who's physique 1.
Yeah.
She's someone else that could be very, interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
You, Miss Olympia.
She's, but yeah, Asha, I mean, her conditioning was spot on.
Yeah, she's always shredded. But going back to the Olympia, when I saw it, I was like, yes. And then when the Miss Olympia was on there, it brought me to tears because, again, we came such a long way. It's been 6 years. 2014 was our last Miss Olympia. Iris was the last person. And then I knew already you were going to get that. I knew. There's just no way. The one person beside yourself who, you and Big Ramy were the two people out of the Olympia that was the mind-blowing moment. You, because you're perfect. You are the perfect role model for women's bodybuilding. I say that to the T. I don't care whoever gets mad at me. It is the truth because, again, you have the shape, the beauty, the representation. You're intelligent. You just have everything. You can tell that your body is just perfect. Again, beautiful muscle bellies. It's not that nasty, I can't really explain that, watery looking. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just perfect. Yeah. Like when people look in the audience at the Rise of Phoenix in the Omaha, everybody was just like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. Wow.
Nobody saw me coming for the Rising Phoenix.
They did not. But I did.
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yes, you did. But that became the thing. Like after the at Olympia, people are like, you came out of nowhere.
You did, and you made a big
freaking
paycheck. Speaking of, how is your car doing?
Oh, Faith is doing wonderful.
Faith?
I had to name her.
I like it.
Faith is doing wonderful. I couldn't resist. I had to take her out a little bit.
Now remind
test
everybody
the wheels
what
out.
kind of car you won at the Rising Phoenix.
I got a 2021, which I thought was a 2020. 2021, just when we think Jake Wood couldn't just top it, he always does.
Are you kidding me? Jake always tops everything.
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
it's amazing. This man is
Mr.
like,
Ghani,
oh man,
goes above
thank
and
God
beyond.
for him.
Yeah.
But it was Camaro Z01, and it's fast.
That's a sweet ride.
Oh my god!
And everybody always comments on it.
Oh.
So when you
She
walk out, it's like,
growls.
oh, nice ride, and then they see your muscles, like, oh my God, you look so great. Whoa,
And it's funny to watch people when I get out of the car. They're kind of like, oh. Yeah.
What does John think
Female
about it?
bodybuilding. Oh, he loves it. He loves it. Like
Did you let him drive?
No. Absolutely not. Sorry. Like I'll take him for a ride, but
You'll take him for a
I'll take
ride. You won't let him drive.
I don't know if I'll let him drive.
That's funny.
But maybe. Depends.
And
I told him maybe if I do well this year, we'll let him take Faith out.
So now if you do the Rising Phoenix again, which I'm sure you are.
Absolutely.
So you get another car.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
I have a name picked out, but we'll let you stay tuned for that one.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go to the Miss Olympia. So you get on the stage, you're doing your mandatories and whatnot. What's going through your mind there?
I had a very strong feeling that, it would go well.
And this was your first Miss Olympia,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So what was that
yes.
rush? What was that seeing everybody in the audience screaming your name? John going crazy, running around. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. So her trainer, her coach, John Sherman, right?
No, Simmons.
Simmons.
Him and Sherman know each other. They used to compete together, though. We're going to see John in...
John S. and John S.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see him in a couple weeks for his show in
Mr.
Texas.
John Simmons, he's in the audience. Andrea gets called, first place. This guy starts doing a marathon, like running up and down the aisles, screaming, hollering, jumping around like a little bunny rabbit. I'm like...
At 240 pounds.
Yeah. He was
It was the funniest
happy.
thing.
It was the most awesomest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's like,
and I saw him leap, and then when he started running, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on out there?
awesome. I would have loved the cameras, okay? To be on him when you won the Miss Olympia.
Yes.
Just to see the expression in his face, because, he's so animated.
Yes. He only gets that way when he's genuinely like happy and he's really on. Other than that, he's very quiet.
Right.
He always sits behind this pull down. He's under the brim of the hat, total Marine, just about the business. He's and when he gets the emotion going, it's really sincere. Because other than that, he's just quiet.
Right.
And you got to get to know him to kind of see it unfold. But he's like the best thing I could have asked for when it comes to coaching, because we did a side-by-side of, the Rising Phoenix and the Olympia. It was 10 days apart. And the transformation of the fullness just from those two, was astounding. He was like, I want you to eat more ground beef. And of course, right?
Yeah,
I had
ground beef again.
I'm like, oh my gosh, are you sure? More? And then I had to think about it, right? Okay, you committed. You got to stay committed. Eat more and do it. And within 10 days, I didn't think it could get better, but it got better.
So here's what was interesting, too. I heard in one of your interviews. You actually trained the day of? No, the day before.
Day before. Did you see that hotel gym?
I actually didn't.
Hyatt Hotel was amazing. You did see it?
I did not.
Oh, you're missing out. I'm going to take you. We'll have some interview time, maybe some
but you
IG live stuff.
Working out before.
I was down there working out at 12
That's
a.m.
hilarious. That's a true champ. You wanted to give it everything.
Everything. And I asked him, I always like to check in and see, how do you feel about, me doing this before I do it, right? Because I had to also make sure that I tell myself, if you think you know more than the coach, then you've already messed up. Ask the coach before you do it, right? So I asked him, I said, hey, do you think, I sent him some video of the gym, and I'm like, okay, they got some good stuff down here. Do you think, I could get in one, more quick little cardio session before? He's like, you feel like you got enough energy to do it? And I'm excited, right? I'm off the Rising Phoenix win. I'm super pumped. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I got it. And I knew that I had to give it that last little bit.
Your back and glutes was freaking insane.
Right till the minute.
Man.
Right to the minute. And it was really cool.
tough.
They had that pump-up area.
Yeah, that was nice.
And people were like, we don't see you on the video for when they were, backstage. I was over there going absolutely bananas. I was doing dips. I was doing push-ups. I was doing
everything. Curls
and deadlifts and squats. I was just, the energy on Olympia Day was just out of this world.
Did any of the girls intimidate you back there?
Nah. I was so into my own zone. I mean, on show day, I'm all about the fun. All of your work should be done. I'm all about the fun. Let's have fun. The people that are tanning us and getting us bikini bodied, they're working their tushes off, right? Let's make it fun for them. Let's get people laughing. Let's get people dancing. It's always, and Alyssa that works for Protan, she'll tell you, I'm always, even at Omaha, I'm always about let's make it fun. It's time. You ready to dance? Let's dance. Let's get it going. It should be celebrating all of the hard work that you've done.
Absolutely.
And the girls, you get some girls who really aren't happy backstage. I just,
So they didn't do
I
the
can
homework.
create the atmosphere I want.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
want to stay there, cool. Just keep it over there. But I'm not about it. Let's just keep it fun. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Are you kidding me?
Well, Quadzilla legend Tom Platz, IFBB Pro, had said the same thing. He was like, when you're on stage, it's a celebration of everything you worked hard for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. It really is.
Absolutely.
Showing everybody what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, you're on the Olympia stage, and you're hearing the third place, second place, and then you hear, that's you. What did you start thinking? What was like, I got to know, what was the rush feeling you were feeling? I mean, can you take us back to that moment? I want to see that like excitement and thrill.
Yeah.
When your name was called as Miss Olympia.
It was just total validation. Total
Did you
validation.
cry on stage? Because I couldn't see you from the back. No.
It took me a while before I started getting emotional. I mean, I didn't really start getting emotional until I got back to the room, and I'm staring at the medal, and I'm like, this really just happened.
Now, who was, I know everybody's congratulating you, but if out of everybody congratulating you, was there one that really stood out the most to you that you wasn't expecting, that you're like, oh, wow, I could just really, it's very sentimental to me, it means a lot?
My coach.
Yeah.
My coach. Like I said, he's very about the business, right? He's very stern. And I do know him probably on a more personal level, but when he really starts to speak from the heart, because he doesn't say much, you listen that much more. Right? And his telling me how proud he was and how amazing it felt that he had the opportunity to be my coach. And he felt honored to be my coach. It was just it really moved me. It moved me.
So what is your goals this year, Miss Olympia?
Be more specific.
Okay, I got a few. So the first goals, meaning like what do you want to see happen with women's bodybuilding? Now you're the main spokesperson. You're what people are looking at as a role model for Miss Olympia. What would you like to see happen this year with women's bodybuilding?
I want to see more women come and get into the division. I feel like, looking at what it's done for me, there's got to be more of the ladies who felt like I felt out there. After talking to Mela, after talking to Asha, there are, I believe, still more women's physique girls who know, they consistently aren't placing high. And they may be getting the feedback that they're too conditioned or they're too dense. That means you need to stop fighting your body and you need to come over to women's bodybuilding. So I already talked to 2 girls, 1 pro, 1 amateur, and it's like there's still so much room for us to grow. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If I can convince, if you want to keep competing, and I could convince 2 girls, 3 girls, 5 girls, I don't care, 6 girls, whoever, to get past the fear and make the move and see how much better it's going to be, that's totally worth it to me. Because again, the ambassador program is amazing.
It is.
I was all over Mela and all over Asha. As soon as the show, like, hey girls, if y'all are interested in competing and still staying in women's bodybuilding, y'all need to get in the ambassador program. And it's like, okay, well, what do you see, as a benefit for doing it? I mean, we get to travel, we get to engage with the fans, we get to, have these amazing photo shoots.
You get exposure.
Exactly. And again, it's been absolutely amazing to take this journey with the team. I mean, we travel. I get to see you at all the shows.
That's right.
And it's fun because, I get the chance. Every time I see you, I'm always happy to see you. It's like,
likewise.
let's chat.
Your energy
let's talk.
is great.
Absolutely. And I think that sincerity speaks for itself, right? People know when you're not sincere. I mean, you can see it a mile away. So why not just be sincere? But this is where whatever influence that I have, I try to be as open and available to, these ladies as I can be, because John is great. I love John. John and I have grown together when it comes to being able to get me to where I am now. But I still feel as though when I was a figure competitor, during my very first women's physique show, I knew John was around, but I wasn't in a place where, I was ready to commit to the full process. So John's always been there, but I wish I would have had a female to come along and say, hey, these are the things that you can expect to happen. changing with, moving into women's bodybuilding or moving into women's physique. These are the physical changes. These are the emotional things that you can expect. These are the different types of like levels to getting into this, that, everything from posing to, let's be a little more transparent. Like, body fat goes low. You may not have a cycle for a menses for the next, 3 months.
Right.
Nobody told me that. Like,
it's scary, isn't it?
I make it a point, even with the clients that we work with in Michigan. I am so blunt with these ladies, and I'm so straightforward because I want them to know, this is what you can anticipate. If you get, to a point, training is your density is increasing, be ready to make that move into the next division. Mm-hmm. If you really want to compete, if that's what really, because it forces me to get into my best shape. That's how my journey started. What am I going to do to get in great shape? Not just good shape, great shape. And people can look at me and know that I work out.
So in saying that, we can, and I know this is going to happen, Miss Olympia times 2 for sure. I really don't see anyone coming close.
Well, I got my list. I'm working on my list.
I think you'll definitely have it in the bag for sure.
Yeah, I want to bring in, so my goals, I'll give you a little snapshot. I want to bring in more clarity with my legs, the quads, the hamstrings. I want to see how much smaller we can get my waist. I'd like to maybe build out my lats a little bit more. Again, what we do is some illusion and some, things that we can do with our bodies to create the look that we want. So, growing my lats out a little bit more, bringing the waist in more, gives more of the X frame. I want to keep working on some of the areas that I did not used to train so much. I hated working arms. I shouldn't say hated it, but
great arms.
I used to not work them. And then John's like, you need to work your arms. And I'm like,
arms.
Dude, did you see how big my arms are? You really want me to work my arms again?
Your
and he's
arms.
like, yeah, you need to work your
arms are bigger than Chef Rush's arms.
Oh, Chef's got some monster arms. But all those flipping the steaks and whatnot. We should get Chef in on some good action for us for food.
You speak French?
Not
Italian?
really.
Well, you're just speaking Arabic to me.
Now I know a
Tell me
little
some
more Arabic.
Again.
Well, when you ask me how much Arabic I speak,
you need one about the pain.
Shweya. Shweya. I speak a little Arabic.
What is that?
But Shweya is a little bit.
Oh. Give me
pain, waja.
Yeah, waja. Why do you know waja?
Well, I used to work at a facility where, so in physical therapy, I would work alongside the physical therapist as a rehab trainer and personal trainer. We have to ask them, and the hub where I used to work at is in Dearborn, and it's a huge Arabic population, actually the largest in the country. And we would have to ask them, during certain activities, are you experiencing any pain? So that's kind of how I started to get acclimated to.
Why do you say feel good?
That I don't know. I know how to say sweetheart.
How do you say
Habibti.
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 Tell us about this t-shirt. I cannot speak. Again, she has me starstruck. Tell me about this t-shirt you have on. This is you.
Oh,
Miss Pretty Muscles.
This is me. So
and where can we get this at?
Over at Mind and Muscle. She that's one of the gyms I work out of. She made me as a surprise. I come home from the Olympia. I'm going into the gym, and they're like, we got a surprise. Just make sure you tell us when you're here and wear the medal. Wear the medal. I'm like, cool. So I get there and they have these shirts on, and it says Miss Olympia is our homegirl. And it was so cool. It was so cool. And she's like, look at the image closely.
It's you.
And she's like, it's you. And I'm like, no way. She's like, yeah, look. And I look and I was like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And she's like, yeah, I just took a picture of you from the stage. And she has these like outlines and utensils and stuff that she does with all this,
Can anybody buy that or just?
Yeah.
So how do they get it?
Miss Pretty Muscle. So I'm going to be selling these on my website. So my website is scheduled to go live at the end of this month. And we'll have T-shirts, we'll have tanks, we'll have jackets. It's just something fun that I think that, it represents me.
What's the name of the website, Miss Pretty Muscles?
The website is Miss Olympia, AndreaShaw.com.
And what about your Instagram? What's your, if we want to?
Miss Pretty Muscles.
Miss Pretty Muscles. So I want to ask you a couple questions. This is off key.
Oh, do tell.
I also got to mention a comment. So one of your fans wants to be your slave.
Ooh.
I know.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm new to this thing about muscle worship.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Well,
you should have told me about that when we were having, my first introduction to female bodybuilding.
There's a lot to it, my friend.
These are interesting things.
Ball busting, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, If they made a TV miniseries about your life, what would it be called?
Ooh. The Faith Adventures of a Female Bodybuilder.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
If you were a car, what would you be?
I'd be Porsche.
Okay.
Porsche.
When you have trouble falling asleep, you do what?
I have a short list of 3 things that I would do. I'm either going to grab some essential oils. I love lavender. And doTERRA is my favorite essential oil. I mean, my absolute
I like doTERRA.
favorite.
Yeah,
it's
good
the
stuff.
best.
Yes.
So I'm going to grab some essential oil. Go grab either a cup of tea so I can read a little bit, or I'm getting ready to go work out.
Yeah, I'd be working out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what 24-hour gyms are for.
Your greatest claim to fame is?
Miss Olympia and
I know.
Miss Rising Phoenix 2020 and hopefully soon 2021.
Your favorite thing to do in the summer is?
Go to the beach.
And your favorite Ben & Jerry's ice cream?
I don't eat ice cream.
Well, you know what? I do.
Oh.
Obviously.
So here's the deal then. You can have the ice cream
gosh.
that would otherwise go on my apple
I
pie.
could. Yes.
So we'll make
can do
that work. So like if I have only one thing that I desire when it comes to sweets. I'm a very simple gal.
And a
apple
beautiful
pie.
one at that.
Thank you.
Now, is there anything positive you want to say to your fans, our viewers, before we sign off?
Yeah, don't be afraid to go after whatever's in your heart, especially when people tell you can't do it.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and regardless of who they are, it's a funny thing. There was a notable coach back home who, I think you could win Miss Olympia maybe in about 2 or 3 years.
Somebody said that to you?
Oh, yeah. I love it when people underestimate me. I love it.
What did you approach them and say, hey?
Oh, I told them right away. I said, no, maybe you didn't hear me. I'm looking to win that, as soon as it comes back.
Did they approach you after you won the Olympia?
Yes.
And?
Told you so. Told you so. Don't doubt me. I'm a fiery one.
You are a
when
fiery
I need
one.
to be. When
That's
I
why
need to be.
this
I'm a
year's
loving
Miss
lady, but when I need to be fiery, I can turn the heat way up.
I wouldn't want to piss you off, that's for sure. That's why this year's Miss Olympia is going to be so interesting, because I know you're going to be freaking having fun and bringing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you throughout the year. What I love about you is that you're going around, you're actually doing more than I've seen any female representative ambassador do in the last few years. You're going around to as many shows as you can.
Absolutely.
Seminars.
Absolutely.
You're putting a positive light out there for women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And God bless you for that, and thank you for doing that, because female bodybuilding is an awesome sport.
Yeah.
I get sick of people saying, oh, it's dead, it's died, it's coming back. It never left.
It never left.
No.
We just needed to make sure that when it came time to come back, those of us who really have a heart for it, boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. We don't want to hear you talking about it. We want to see what you're doing. The women who are truly in it and have a testimony to give of how it's changed their lives, they need to be actively going after motivating women. And not everybody wants to compete, but I'm pretty certain that most people want or have a desire to be in great shape. There's something that we have to offer. To whether it's advice, whether it's encouragement, there's something that we can give back to make sure that we keep people encouraged, especially women, right? Women give so much. We can multitask, we can do a whole lot of different things, but a lot of times I've seen throughout, working with different women, they neglect themselves for the sake of taking care of so many others. But at the same time, when I'm working with some of these ladies one-on-one, it's like, you know what? You still have to, in an unselfish way, put you first, because if your cup is full, then you can help the others that you have to from a place of having more than enough to give. Mm-hmm. And that becomes vastly important. At a certain point, quality of life. When I look over, when they brought back the female bodybuilders from that have retired, who've won. Remember Kiki,
Carla
that was
Dunlap.
a great moment. These ladies have been able to sustain a certain quality of life.
Yes.
Right? By staying active, by staying engaged. And those are things that some people really need a little more of a gentle nudge. Or sometimes they need all on in your face to keep that motivation. And, that's what we should be doing. If you're a real ambassador of the sport and it's in your heart, you should be giving back.
Yes.
So that's key.
I'm just going to end it with, you asked me earlier about women's physique and bodybuilding. What can we do? I think a lot of them are afraid of women's bodybuilding because we have some female bodybuilders who, God bless them, they don't really show the femininity. So a lot of these physique girls are afraid of that. So we have to show them, hey, look, it is not what you think it is. It's the really manly, macho.
We're still women.
We're still women.
We're still
right.
women.
Right. And that's what I love about you, because you have the overall feminine look, the beauty, the muscles. You're big. You just have everything. You flow. And I think that we can convince our physique girls, because I know a few of them now who make excellent bodybuilders.
Yeah.
But they're worried about the size, and they're worried about, I'm going to be so masculine and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. I still say that because there's a certain part of this, right, that still, it came naturally from, this is the way that I am, right? If you naturally are a girly girl, and yes, maybe
like
you have a little more, you. As for one of the things I saw about you when I first met you, I was like, man, she's pretty, right? There are certain things
You need
that
your eyes checked, but thank you.
you still, no way. She's not fooling me. I saw this girl. Don't lose that. And that was one thing that I had a talk with John about. Like, okay, if I'm moving into women's bodybuilding, I still want to be me. I still want to make sure that my personality comes across. I can be a tomboy at times. Like, I can be rough. I grew up on a farm. It's like some, rough edges every now and then. But overall, when it's time to shine and be on, we can be on.
Oh, you're gorgeous.
And if that's you, and that's like the girly, and you like wearing heels, okay, we don't wear the heels, but still, that persona still can be implemented into what you bring on stage.
You are one of the most prettiest female bodybuilders I've seen in a long time. And on top of that, I would really like to see Muscle Fitness have you on the cover, because I think it's time that we have another female bodybuilder on cover of Muscle Fitness. We've not had it, I think, since
that would be a
Linda
dream come
Murray,
true.
Rachel McClish, and I think Corey Everson.
That would
so
be a
I would
dream
love
come
to see
true.
you on the cover, the return of women's bodybuilding with you on it, because again, you're beautiful. And again, I am going to cut this off now, but the last thing I have to say is you had done a photo shoot with this particular bikini. It looked like it was painted on. It was a colorful bikini, but it looked like it was painted on, and I'm trying to think, it was purple, kind of purple and black and white, and looks like pearls. But it was a beautiful photo shoot.
Ah, yes.
And
yes,
it looked like it wasn't even real. And I'm just like, that's badass.
Oh, man. And, these are the fun things that we get to do as female bodybuilders, right? It's like, just come on to the team. We'll take good care of you. It's going to be okay. But, yeah, keep that femininity. Keep that feminine edge. Don't lose that. You don't get to lose that just because you put on my muscle. You still bring that to the stage and let us enjoy that about you. That's the beauty of being a female bodybuilder.
Well, it has been a total exciting moment for me having the Miss Olympia, Andrea Shaw, on my show.
Now, you promise that you're going to be staying out of retirement.
I'm definitely not. I'm officially not retired.
All right. Just for the record.
Just for the record. But I'm looking forward to seeing you win Miss Olympia number 2, and then eventually being number 8 and beating Linda Murray's record. And 11. Oh, yes.
11. Just to, let's see
I had
where
to
this
had to
goes.
put that in there.
Let's see where
I
this
love her
goes.
attitude.
Yes.
Hey, anyway, thank you again, Miss Olympia Andrea Shaw. It's a pleasure having you here. I'm Fit Rockstar Isabel Terrell, signing off. Peace out.